So
Mhm.
let's start with the skinny fat group because I feel as if that's the people you run into most often, especially when it comes to that beginner side. So, what is your
Mhm.
definition of skinny fat?
My definition of skinny fat is like someone that will I guess I'll put in like a funny context. Will like they'll wear a cutoff, but like they're not damn close to ever taking their shirt off in the gym. Like they're just like still kind of they're okay with how they look, but it's like they could always there's always that little bit they want to keep losing, and it's like I guess that would be my definition of like skinny fat. It's like you're right there, you look all right, but it's like you always know there's a little bit of like pudge there, and it's like you kind of want to like push to that next level where there's not a lot of people take it to that next like getting shredded level or whatever.
I went straight to the analytical side of it. I like your answer, I think, more than I like mine because I went more textbook side of it. But I was saying how
Yeah.
it's usually assigned with beginners and sometimes even intermediates, like closer to
Hmm.
even like the 5 year mark, that are just not quite skinny, but they're not quite obese. They're just frustratingly
Hmm.
somewhere in between.
Yeah.
And people, they take that softer look and then they have a really
Hmm.
hard time getting off specifically that lower stomach and that lower back fat.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
even after they diet, even after they take that super common advice of all you need to do is eat in a calorie deficit, they shred down and they look nothing like the people that they're looking up to.
Yeah.
What do you think the biggest mistake for skinny fat clients is, especially in the first 8 weeks?
So with skinny fat people, it's always like their biggest thing is wanting to lose weight. So they're kind of in the camp of like lose weight at all costs. And so they'll just cut ungodly amounts of food out of their plan and they won't focus on like prioritizing muscle. And that's what always happens with guys is like they will deflate and then all they become is like if they were fat, they'll just become a skinny version of that fat person. Like you're just a deflated version of that self. So you'll end up losing muscle and they don't I think another point I can make with that is like they don't like have metrics to track. So like they'll just their numbers in the gym will plummet, their performance in the gym will plummet, and then like, well, I'm losing weight, so that's kind of my goal, right? I'm losing fat, right? And then they come to realize at the end of it, it's like they're just a smaller version, but still fat. It's like, and then that's where they get skinny fat. It's like because you may have lost scale weight, which is cool, but you also lost muscle, which is not cool. So then you kind of have to have a good balance of the two.
Were you ever in that position yourself at some point?
Yeah. Whenever I first lost weight, like I wasn't skinny by any means, but I also wasn't like fat anymore. But I was like I had like no really muscle, but I was pretty skinny fat. I'm like 6 foot. I was like 6 foot, like 175, but I had like no muscle, but I also didn't have like the stomach anymore. So I was just like right in the middle.
Think that I thought I was skinny fat for years and years and years, but
Hmm.
anytime I got just a little bit, I would go into like a bulk, or it wasn't really a bulk. It
Hmm.
was more so just I would stop tracking and have more freedom, and then
Hmm.
I got fat in consequence. And then as soon as I got that
Right.
little bit of fat, it would trigger that cycle of I need to do a cut right now. So I just
Yeah.
did,
Yeah.
I don't know, like a 6 year cut, essentially straight in a
Hmm.
row, and never gave my body the needed nutrients or supplies that it needed. I actually put on muscle and actually put on muscle shape more specifically.
Hmm. Right.
But in fixing these people, the skinny fat group, training priority, volume,
Hmm.
intensity, frequency, and why.
Hmm. For I think for the beginner, especially, like I'm sure you've heard this a million times over, is that I think the biggest priority needs to be intensity at the beginning. And I think once you can nail your intensity, like, I mean, I'm still in this phase as well of like nailing my intensity. And then I think you can base your volume and all that kind of stuff based off of that intensity. Because if you never are able to like, I guess I kind of have like an old school mentality and thinking about this because that's kind of how my coach is. And that's just kind of like what I follow. It's like if you can't nail the intensity part of it first, it's like how are you accurately able to gauge your volume if you've never been able to like quote unquote take it there or like whatever because it's like you can have all the cool volume tracking RPE RIR techniques but it's like how do you actually know that you are one or two RIR if you never have like buried yourself in a squat and it's like I think that that needs to be like the base. I mean I'm sure I think that needs to be the base of any beginner's training is like nail the intensity part of it first and then once you've built or like earned I guess kind of earned it to focus on like RIR, RPE, all that kind of thing. Volume wise, I it's really I hate these kind of questions are like hard because like it's so individualized. It's so like it depends. It's like you get any kind of like fitness advice, you could literally just end it with it kind of depends. It's like you, for example, could do like 30 sets of legs and maybe never get sore. And I do like 8 sets and I'm like screwed. So it's so person dependent. I do find I know like one volume like thing that I live by is like I'm super big on high volume for like smaller muscle groups. That's the only like hard and fast rule that I have. Like personally, like arms, delts, calves, all that kind of thing. I'm always a high volume person in that aspect. Other things I'm still kind of learning. Like I'm still a noob in the gym in my opinion. So I'm still learning like how much volume for legs I need to do, how much volume for back and chest. And that's kind of why that's one of the main reasons like having a coach is good is he can kind of guide that and that kind of thing. But I guess the one hard and fast rule is high volume for small muscle groups always, and everything else is kind of just person dependent at that point.
Yeah, I though having a coach thing about volume was huge, especially for me. My all my training and the way I thought about stuff got completely overhauled because I was very much so, especially after a certain revolution of social media cycles, very much so on the low volume side of stuff. Like I was
Yeah.
all in on that stuff because I once
Right.
you
Yeah.
got to know the science behind all of it, it made sense to me. I was like, yeah, like that
Hmm.
that makes sense. But then whenever I got my coach, a lot of it was very high volume stuff. Or it was
Hmm.
high volume through high frequency. Like it would be relatively high volume, and then I would also hit that muscle group 2 to 3 times a week. And at first,
Hmm.
I was bitching, of course, not to him directly, but I was complaining internally. I'm like, this is high volume, and this is stupid, and I think the low volume side of things. And then I saw growth that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
So immediately, of course, I was
Same.
disproven in my own methods.
Gotcha. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's kind of like I think I've heard. Who was it? I can't remember. Maybe it was like Dusty Hanshaw or something like that. Was like whenever you're a beginner, it's like the more volume, it's like you're shooting like a shotgun versus a sniper. It's like you have a lot more like volume toward that muscle, so you're going to be able to start firing it better. You're going to be able to start cueing it better or whatever. The more that you do it, and if you're only allowing yourself like this little amount of volume and this little amount of stimulus, so you don't accumulate too much fatigue or whatever, you're never going to be able to like fire that muscle because you're working it so little, and it's like you have to build up. Like it's like dribbling a basketball or shooting free throws. It's like you have to do it over and a lot when you first start to get good at it and build like a foundation or whatever.
Yeah, I love that volume analogy in the sense of skill as well, like
Exactly. It
proficiency
is
in
a
a
skill.
movement.
Yeah.
hmm
Exactly.
Like if you could do a hack squats one set a week, bi-weekly or whatever, but if you're hitting 3 sets or variations of that twice a week, every single week, you're going to get good at the
Mhm.
hack squat. You're going to
Yeah, you're gonna
get good
learn.
at squatting one point or another.
Yeah.
That was a small snippet from the entire podcast episode I did with Maddox Medlin, who is a 20-year-old coach who is without a doubt going to be successful in the next 5 years. We broke it down into 3 different groups of people, how we could help skinny fat, people who are fat want to lose weight, or people who are skinny and want to finally put on some size. And as you can tell from the clip, obviously we were helping out the skinny fat group first. So if you'd like more education, more context of the situation, how some of these principles could be applied to you and your personal journey, we covered all of that in the episode, which I will link right above.